It's the idea. It's the idea guys, right? Like you built this for the idea guys.
In a way, that maybe the light bulb is a nice nod to the idea guys of the world.
Internet explorers.
Oh, baby. Welcome back, everybody. Internet Explorers, episode 37. Lovely Friday, y'all. Another exciting week. This is Internet Explorers, where we come and try to figure out what the hell's happened in the week of consumer crypto and the broader consumer internet. Episode 37. Giddy up. We're over here at live.seedclub.xyz. If you're hanging out with us on Twitter, come over to live.seedclub.xyz. That's where the unhinged chat is. And, well, people are just having a good morning there right now. So far, so good. Got a great show for you today, but first, Josh, how we doing, my man?
We're doing okay.
How's
Brain's
your head? How's the noggin?
I haven't been this dumb since the last time I had COVID, so that's where
Josh,
we're at.
Is this COVID? Am I COVID?
It's unconfirmed, but feels likely based on the functioning of my brain.
This is fun. So we got Josh whatever, like falling deep into the sickness that he's about to battle is, and maybe we can take advantage of that. That could be fun. On the clicks and clacks, we've got Peace Note. How we doing, man?
Cruising right along.
Nice little double intro action and 4-window finicky producer chair there. So I'm glad that we were able to navigate that so smoothly.
Only for us, though. No one else knew.
No, that's why I brought it up. Is just to
let them know.
Let them know what's going on.
Good.
Cool. All right. Summertime, baby. Excited. We got a couple of folks joining us today. John Palmer will be on here shortly talking about their new release. There's something in the water around the intersection between NFTs and meme coins. Seems like it's going to be a hot trend. Already a hot trend. So excited to see what they've been up to and what they're working on. We're going to do a little EthCC check-in. People have been all over the timeline last week talking about, or I guess this week, talking about Brussels. So let's just, we'll get some on-the-ground reporting back from that. And then we're going to talk about PER.MA, a new app from the Future Primitive guys, Appskingmaking, the hot start problem, and of course, the lightning round. So let's get into it. We got a big show today. Let's bring John up here. How are we doing, sir?
Hey, what's up? Am I on the stream now?
Yeah, the stream's not used to capturing full idea guy brilliance, so just.
I love how there's like there's a New York sound. Like anyone I talk to from New York, it sounds the same when they sign on to calls.
Little air conditioning hum and then street noise.
It's been pretty hot, so yes, you're probably just hearing the AC.
I love it.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me. Excited to be here, and I watch pretty frequently as well. So happy to be. I don't think have I ever been on? I don't think I've ever been on.
I think we had Danny on last time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know Danny's been on, and well, yeah, it's cool to be here.
Cool,
yeah, go Jess.
I'll let you lead, Josh, and then I'll step in if your brain is fucked.
Yeah, please do. I love when there's something that happens on like the Thursday that just makes our show for the Friday. And I think as soon as this came out and I started clicking around, I knew it was it. So thanks for jumping on so quickly, John. Yeah, I think like maybe it's funny thinking back to our chat with Danny, and this feels like such a logical progression from I guess what was party rooms, and then kind of a kind of killer emerging use case you saw of them, which was like pre-sales for meme coins. And then I assume you taking kind of, insights and tips from that to release this product. So maybe, just start with kind of sharing what this is, and then we'd love to get into kind of the insights and thinking behind it and what pushed you to release it.
For sure. Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you have the thread, but like, I'll say a lot of things that are in the thread, but yeah. So yesterday we released a new app. It's a new creator tool. It doesn't really have a name. It's just the domain, a subdomain on our main site. So it's create.party.app. And yeah, as you can see here, we're calling it, it's a new way to create, collect, and trade. And I think the main difference maybe when like from products that you hear when you think about like creating, collecting, minting, is that it's all based in ERC20 tokens. So as we put in the first tweet here, there's some cool things about that, like creator royalties are built in, secondary markets are built in. And I think that there's a lot of cool, interesting things about it. But I would say like as a team, it's funny, like I think you said you see like a logical progression. I think that's true in many ways. And also in some ways it's a little bit more random than that. But I definitely think you can spin that tail, and that's probably honestly true to some degree. I think as a team, we think of this as an experiment. we're always experimenting or always want to be experimenting in ways that test our assumptions and just look for new opportunities, especially since Party has been around 3 years now, and the crypto world's changed a ton since we started building. And so in this case, we really wanted to play with some ideas in whatever consumer crypto, particularly around just lowering the barrier to entry. I think you're probably like very familiar with our main product, party.app, which is kind of like a DAO or group wallet kind of hybrid, very on-chain, has a ton of powerful features. But it is like quite a high barrier to entry to start a party because there's a lot of different variables to think about. And we as a team really wanted to think about building a product, a consumer crypto product that just had a much lower barrier to entry. And so this was just playing with that. I think the other thing that we're interested in doing with it is just, I think, playing with the format a little bit more of like crypto and tokens and things you can own. I was on a whole like rant about this in the winter of just like tokens and NFTs and like really focusing on like what you own versus what you do in some ways. I don't know that I would say that that's the whole point of this product, but I do think that we were just curious and kind of breaking the constraints of like the normal connotations of different crypto products. And so Jess, you said something in the intro about combining like NFTs and tokens. And I think that's really part of what's interesting about this to us is like, I think the past 6 to 12 months of crypto have been like a lot of meme coin like domination, and maybe NFTs are at like a bottom or something like that. And obviously that's because there's really exciting things about tokens. You've got like speculation, you can make money trading them like really easily. They're integrated with all the like DeFi products, which makes them super composable. That's really cool. But there's also a lot of things about, I guess, even like 2021 NFT culture and the stuff that's survived until now of like, well, there's something creative behind it. There's a lot more culture. You can actually collect stuff you care about. And so I think that this product is also a way to just like play with the format of tokens and consumer products where you've kind of got like the creativity and culture and collecting of NFT stuff with some of the speculation and composability of token stuff. And that's kind of the core idea behind putting this out there.
I mean, NFTs are tokens too, John.
Exactly.
That's what I think. This idea of we just love tokens on the show. Yeah. We love tokens. Tokens are the cool fucking thing, and they're going to take many different sort of shapes. And I think there's sort of this interesting trend of almost looking at like it's like the bundling of things. Like it used to be like token and market was very different, and now we're actually seeing those in experience, at least, and in practicality, almost come together in a much more bundled way. But maybe before I start talking about esoteric stuff like that, can you just break down the specific pieces, like what's actually happening here, so people fully understand the product?
For sure. So can start with like kind of just like a basic user journey, right? So like if you were going to come create something on this app, you click create, and well, sorry, I guess Peace Node maybe is like collecting something here, but the UI I'll walk you through.
As he does.
Yeah.
He's just gonna ignore him on the screen. Just tell us what's cool.
Go create something, Peace.
So when a creator comes here, they click create and like create a mint, and you can basically upload some media. Right now it's just images and GIFs, but obviously like we'll probably be expanding that. And you can add a title and a description. To start off, like everything's priced the same. There's not a lot of configuration because we really value being quote unquote smooth brand friendly. So you just start with like your media and your title and description. And what you're doing is your work is basically an ERC20 contract. And the total supply of the token in your contract is 10,000. And this was something that we thought was like a nice nod to like NFT, the NFT format. I think like most tokens these days like 1 billion supply. Everything's 18 decimals, so like it's all just like unit bias and doesn't really matter. But I think 10,000 tokens is kind of like a cool, like super micro supply like type of token, right? So what happens when the mint begins is, and I'll come back to this later, but first of all, 10% of the supply of the token is just reserved for the creator, which leaves another 90%. So the question is like, what's going to happen with the other 90%? The way it works is that you start with a mint, and half of that 90%, so 4,500 tokens are available to mint all at the same price. People can mint however much they want by, minting however much ETH worth they want. And they get tokens. Like when you mint, you literally get ERC20 tokens that land in your wallet right in that mint. But the key is that the tokens are locked, so you can't transfer them. They're just sitting in your wallet. You can burn them for a refund. So like during the mint, it's like I can mint tokens, I can burn them for a refund. I'm not like stuck, but I can't go start trading them or putting them on Uniswap or sending them out to people or whatever, using any other like tools. It's just I mint, I get my tokens, they're locked. When the mint sells out, the other half of those tokens, the other 4,500 left, go into a pool on Uniswap with all of the ETH from the mint. And that Uniswap LP is locked forever. So it's permanently locked. But we have a nice little smart contract that we wrote and audited that's a party like LP locker. That even though that LP is locked forever, the creator can claim the fees being earned from the LP. And I'll come back to this as like maybe another talking point, but it is really cool to kind of think about the royalties conversation from the NFT world, because for all intents and purposes, like royalties are kind of broken and pretty dead in the water in terms of the NFT world. But this is pretty cool for creators because they can actually like earn royalties permanently in a way that like isn't broken or circumvented, and in a like pretty well-known format, which is just Uniswap LP fees. Now we're trying not to bog users down with like it's Uniswap LP, fee tier or whatever. Like it's just we just call it royalties. Under the hood, though, I think it's good for people to know like it's all on Uniswap V3. It's like the most popular protocol that makes it composable. It automatically integrates, like it pops up on Deck Screener, it pops up on all the apps that you like to see tokens. But yeah, from then on, the creator is earning 1% on every secondary trade. So in the same moment, right, when the mint sells out, the tokens go on Uniswap and that LP is locked. So there's now a secondary market. They also unlock. Now they're transferable and tradable. So everyone who was in the mint can now do whatever they want with their tokens. They can trade them. And the creator in that moment gets their 10% of the supply transferred to their wallet. And from then on, you've basically got your typical ERC20 token. Some cool stuff on our platform is we show like an activity feed of all the trades. You can filter it by Farcaster users. So you're just seeing like maybe like more relevant users, which is pretty cool. And I guess like worth calling out that when you create a mint, as you see here in the UI, you can also turn on this feature we've got to limit your mint to only Farcaster users with more than 100 followers, which you can kind of think of as like a nice bot protection so that you don't like create a mint and like a bunch of random bots go collect it before, your friends or relevant people can. So that's kind of the maybe heavy on the details, but that's like the technical explanation of everything that's happening here.
Yeah, I mean, I like so much of the thinking behind it because the entire on-chain media ecosystem hinges on the desire for people to collect stuff. And I think largely the collecting game isn't that fun right now. And this type of mechanic is going to make it way more fun. But I'm curious what, largely it still feels like a kind of meme coin launchpad product, right? Most of the tokens that are getting launched there are very, meme-y. They're not people putting their, their like creativity there. So what do you think you need to go do to actually kind of break out of this this use case as a meme coin launchpad?
I think I would give it a little time. I am like a little surprised by how meme coiny it is. Like maybe I shouldn't be, but I also think there's actually some pretty powerful ideas here that I think with time are going to evolve pretty quickly, right? So the first thing I would call out is just like I think that this is maybe like a new. There's kind of a whole theme of like business models for creators in crypto, right? And I think this introduces a pretty new and interesting business model for creators, which is like a more skin in the game based model, right? So if you think about like, how can you make money with crypto? Like there's all the normal stuff from like, the Web 2 world, like, well, I can build a business, I can earn revenue with like a product, whatever. I think maybe like the coolest new like creator business model from the past several years is like basically Zora's open edition model, which kind of has like had a ton of success, growth, still probably going to grow like a ton more. So that's probably like the biggest winner, which is like $1 per mint. If I put something out there, 100 people mint it, make $100, that's great. I would frame that as like kind of like a linear business model. It's like the more mints I get, the directly linearly more revenue I earn, and it just like scales linearly. I think for creators, the interesting thing about this platform is it's kind of like a higher risk, higher reward, like equity based business model. So maybe more quadratic. So when people are minting my work, I'm not getting $1 per mint. I'm actually not getting anything. Like the mint money is going to seed the secondary market, but I do get 10% of the supply and the 1% royalties. So this lets me capture unbounded upside, right? So like, yeah, maybe 1,000 people would have minted. I could have made $1,000, but in this world, like, yeah, maybe 1,000 people mint this too. But what's cool is that you get a market cap and a secondary market. So if I think I have a work that could be valued at $50,000 or $1 million, I could make $100,000, where it's very unlikely that I was going to get $100,000 mints, right? So I think this is pretty interesting. To answer your question about the meme coin thing, it's like, I think as creators kind of realize like, oh, I've got to work. I think it's pretty valuable. I'd love to earn $1 per mint, but am I leaving something on the table if I only make $1 per mint? And I think that's pretty cool, right? So
if you could leave that picture of the cheese up there as John is talking about business models and compelling mints, I feel like that is chef's kiss. I do think it's a great picture of cheese. Yeah. I think this is it's a really interesting trend, and I think to me it's coming from a lot of really smart teams that are realizing what Josh was saying there, which is this like, behind so many of these token models or mechanisms right now is this compelling game to play, right? And much of that is around speculation. I think there's more to it than just that, and so like, how do you make and that all these mechanisms require there to be liquidity, people wanting to collect and to buy, and so if that has fallen off a cliff right now, I think in many cases, or at least I think that's probably fair. And so this next thing is emerging, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see where it lands, because it still feels kind of awkward.
Yeah.
But I feel like the destination that we're walking towards feels very right. I think it's part of like, it feels like it's really easy. It's all bundled. We're abstracting a bunch of stuff away. There's a lot of fancy mechanics that are behind it. But something's going to come out. And, I think the point that's the most compelling here is introducing a whole new sort of market type of business model for creators without having to roll your own contracts, think about token models, etc.
For sure. I think obviously I think all these formats take some time to catch on, and there's also maybe some social taboo. Even with NFT, I remember all the artists were super anti NFT, right? And most of those people later on either launch a generative thing or an art blocks, or now they're regularly minting on Zora. So I think there's definitely a social adoption thing to get over. But I do think if you see here, there's my idea guy mint here. It's pretty funny because I think maybe 30 or 40 people minted it, but I've made over $500 from the secondary fees on the mint, and that's I think it feels really different too. If we're talking about this, it doesn't make sense or something. I think it feels really different once you start using it and becomes pretty intuitive to realize how the business model side of it works for creators. So I think if creators, to the meme coin point, I think as creators wake up to that, I think that we'll see more work here that's not just memes. No problem with the memes, but I think there's a lot more potential than that.
Yeah, there's a new format to discover, new opportunities for sure.
I would also say for us, it felt kind of weird for us to ship a creator tool that hasn't really been the realm that PartyDAO operates in. But when we look at the user base, it's actually kind of the same users who were successful on party.app. And I think it's maybe a misnomer, the creator thing is just it's a little bit of an umbrella term. I don't think that the creator, there's maybe some new type of user in crypto. It's not they were just an artist or a visual artist before crypto. It's more they're pretty creative. They have cool ideas. They're ambitious. They're social, and they're interested in they're kind of an overlap between an early adopter and someone who's down to experiment with stuff. And that type of person, I think, can do a lot with this, just like they can on a lot of other crypto tools.
It's the idea guys, right? You built this for the idea guys.
In a way, that maybe the light bulb is a nice nod to the idea guys of the world.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's one interesting point.
We're going to leave it there. We got lots to get into. Create.party.app, is that correct?
Yeah, and my last call out would just be, again, I think if this sounds cool but you haven't tried it, or it sounds really stupid but you haven't tried it, I really think there's a different feeling when you go collect something and see the tokens land in your wallet, or create something and start seeing the royalties accrue. That makes it really click in your head. And I think if you're interested in crypto and consumer or whatever, trying out the product. Like,
you think people are listening to this and not clicking buttons right now? Give me a break, John. These people are they're clicking buttons. If you're in the chat, you're clicking buttons. Let us know.
Peace notes, clicking enough buttons for everyone. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you. And yeah, if you have feedback or questions, or anybody does, like, just hit me up on Twitter or X or Warpcast. You know my username, or you can put it on here. But open to DMs.
Amazing. All right, John. Appreciate it.
Peace. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. See you later.
Something in the water. There is. I love just seeing the sort of experimentation of bundling tokens and markets together. I hadn't looked at Pump.Fun that way, really, because it feels like you're sort of like the core Pump.Fun mechanic is pre-market, but it is automated and pushes out there and do stuff. So I probably shouldn't look at it that way.
Totally. I've kind of like from day one there felt like that's always kind of felt like a not creator tool, but you can just go there and browse and get value and like a pulse on what's in like the mimetic zeitgeist of the internet very quickly.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the experience I've had in.
You can choose to have that experience if you.
I'm going to try that on next time I visit that website. All right, so I mean, some of you probably are still in line right now, coming back from EthCC. Hopefully not. Hopefully people aren't stuck in. Big week, EthCC, all our European friends. Those of us that didn't go probably just navigated the 47 messages of being like, "Are you going to be at EthCC?" I was not, but we have people who have, and so thought we'd take this opportunity. Basically, the tweets were pretty great. There was like a stream of tweets coming out over the last few days. One of those tweets came from Maria Paula. It was a lovely dig at both crypto conferences, well, more generally than specifically. And Maria Paula is at Avara, so building in the space, done a bunch of stuff around conferences, etc. So we thought we'd bring her on to see what the latest was from the European conference scene.
I mean, I hope there were some bright spots because I didn't see them on Twitter.
Maria Paula, what's up?
Hi.
How we doing?
I'm good. Is there such thing as a European conference space? Is this different than American conference space? Do we do things differently?
I think.
Do we start on the weekends, maybe?
Oh God, I wish. That'd be lovely.
Oh,
Maria Paula, what's funny is I met you for the first time in 2019 at ETH Berlin. You were doing an event around it, and I remember just popping my head into your office at whatever the co-working space is there, and you looked up, and I was like, "Oh, she's in the middle of planning a big event. I should just say hi and leave very quickly." And I did that just to not interrupt.
Yeah, I think we met. You weren't at ETH San Francisco 2018, right?
I wasn't. No.
For the birth of Meta Cartel.
I was there.
An interesting one.
Yeah, it was a good time. Anyways, okay. What? I mean, you shared a tweet that was basically like you have a deep displeasure of crypto conferences generally. Obviously, you have a lot of experience there, but you want to give us the EthCC lowdown. Like, what is the? Give us the goss. Give us the things people are excited about. Update.
Well, honestly, of course, the general criticism of EthCC was that there were too many satellite events, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's I can't believe that we had 4 parties every night. Half of them were empty, and then you feel bad about the organizers, but also so many wasted resources. About 10 events or more per day, plus the big conference, which the big conference, I have to say, was very well organized. The conference center, in contrast with the Paris one, is so much better. But then it's in the city center in Brussels, and right next to it is the central station. And in general, in Europe and in the States as well, central stations are dangerous. Period. So a lot of people got mugged. It was more than in Colombia. People say I was in Colombia, but it was quite crazy, the whole thing. And of course, hopping from party to party, from drinks to it the whole thing make it make sense. It's what I ask for. I love to see one positive thing that I have to say from the 2019 edition of EthCC, which was the last one I was in, to these. The satellite events have gotten so much better. I just shared on my Twitter the satellite event of Aave that I moderated in 2019 versus the one that we did last Tuesday, and oh my God, what a glow up!
So more lasers.
Events,
more lasers.
And the Rave, of course, lots of lasers. So the quality of the events is getting better. Panels are well thought through. The programming is stellar as well. Brands are chef kiss. Really, we really are bringing some of the best designers in the space. Experiences are great as well. The food is decent everywhere, which is crazy for a crypto conference, especially for us that have been in the circuit for a while. But it is, in all honesty with you, I think it's incredibly wasteful to have so many events. It's crazy, it's a crazy amount of resources, of real waste, of course, because of food that's not eaten, swag that's not distributed, and so on and so forth. So it's a little bit bittersweet.
My question for you then, because you have, been so deep in crypto and in conferences, he's just got to get used. He's got the sound coming through now. I mean, what's the solution here? What's a better crypto conference? Because I feel like all the incentives are aligned for us to keep blowing up, side events and wasting money.
Yeah. I mean, so first of all, do it in a place that has less spaces for pop-up things. And I don't know, in Berlin, we do a pretty good job at curating the main page of the satellite events, so that we make sure to have some norms that we agreed by consensus in the Berlin community, but very long time ago in 2018, on what's good, what's not, try to not overlap. We create chats for coordination as well. We put a ton of support for that. It seems that the EthCC events weren't coordinated at all, or at least,
It reminded me of NFT NYC, which is my favorite because I like going to New York and everybody's there, but I have never once attended the conference, and it feels like
right.
Yeah.
But that's because it sucks. It's so it's a very sad conference. I once tried to run out of backstage when I was about to give my talk because I don't want my face associated to it.
I love it. Yeah.
That's the thing. The EthCC conference is great. It's fantastic. It's one of the best. But yeah, we have a proliferation of technology now that we have never had before, especially infrastructure solutions. And they all want to control the narrative over their experiences. So that's why we have so many satellite events. I do not think that we need so many multi-day events, but maybe we do. I don't know.
Yeah. See, what I'm hearing here is we just need the Seedclub Conference to come over and give our best shot at things. So Maria, we'll be ready to come talk to you and get all sorts of insights down before we go do that. And I just love the look on her face. All right. Well, appreciate you joining us here. I think a lot of folks had questions about the realness behind EthCC, and I think you did a good job. I think that's what people walked away from. We were like, it was great to see my friends. One event was great. Brussels has some challenges, but welcome to the city life, and the pursuit of trying to make conferences more interesting continues. I'm not doing conference kick right now. The only conference I'll flag, I'm going to be at FWB Fest just outside of LA in a couple weeks. So if you haven't got your FWB ticket, come hang out. It's cool. They do a great job of it. But yeah, anyways, appreciate you hanging out. What you want to shout anything out? What's the latest at Avara and the cool things you guys are working on there?
Nothing. Pay attention to us. We had a huge week. We actually had a huge week. Lens has announced a lot of new partners that are integrating. We are a full steam with the Lens network as well. Aave is going non-EVM with a pending governance. So, and the family wallet is the best wallet you can probably you can choose.
I love that.
So,
Give her a little shill. I thought you're like, oh, I don't really have nothing, and then you shilled 7 things really effectively. Amazing, Maria Paula.
Really big week.
No, I love it. It's perfect. Appreciate you jumping on with us last moment, and hope you have a wonderful, relaxing weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm so not. Conferences are really, really valuable, I think, in certain specific instances, and then just such a bloody waste of time otherwise. And I'm not sure if
I feel like already, like ETH is just too broad, right? Like I think when you just feel it after VFest or FarCon, or you need these, like, there's just so many kind of niche fragmented interests now that like kind of don't overlap that well.
Well, if you think about like this is like, oh, we're gonna have like a Windows conference, or C++ conference, whatever. You're sort of excited about like the operating system, which lives for a while, right? Where that's where most of the innovation lives, and then very quickly it's about your SaaS, or it's about enterprise, or it's about consumer, or it's about whatever, right? So I guess we're going to see that fragmentation. I'm already see it. I think that 600 people out to our FarCon FreeWifi event.
Exactly.
It's great. So cool. All right. Let's move on through the juice of this meet. What do we got here? We got some topics. Block explorers, of course. Of course, we got some block explorers.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't. It's a funny week for block explorers, I think. So, Dora. I think this is an old raise, but whatever. They announced a raise this week, so resurfaced block explorers into my mind. I think also etherscan announced, what is it called, Blockscan, which is their new kind of like simplified cross-chain block explorers. They're kind of like moving into the more consumer friendly simplified version of kind of like their OG product. So kind of just got me thinking about the future of these kind of more generic block explorers. I think in the announcement post, Bunny kind of likened what they're building. I think they call it what they're building like an on-chain search engine or something, and kind of likened the impact that Google had on like the proliferation of the internet. And I very much like don't buy that. Yeah. Or even really, I struggle to see a future where anything that identifies as a block explorer is like a killer consumer product. I think we're already seeing it kind of unbundle pretty hard, right? Like you could call Interface in some ways a block explorer, but it's like it's a social feed of things that my friends are doing on chain, right? Or like, what Nansen is doing, but they're very like focused on surfacing insights, that are happening on chain. Or, there are kind of countless examples of these like unbundled things that are just serving distinct needs that people here have. But I don't know. Like even now, like I find myself going to, I think, if I think back to like three years ago, I was on Etherscan all the time, right? You're minting shit from contract. It was like the only place to like see where stuff was happening. And now we just have kind of countless more consumer friendly examples, or it's just like in context of like the app you're using or whatever. So
I think that's it. Like the idea of like, I mean, Google's funny, right? Because Google came out in a time where like the ability to find information online was very limited, whatever. But today it's about integrations into apps. It's about AI surfacing you answers, etc. And so I just, maybe if they're using that as the example, and that, that it's very unlikely people will be, not unlikely, you will be very purposeful in using block explorers and searching for a specific thing, but most likely most people will experience block explorers through a product and not really know it's a block explorer. It'll be there's like Dune, etc. Sort of like data analysis thing, tons makes sense, but I just don't think.
Yeah, like the whole application layer is in some ways a block explorer.
Right. Yeah, it's like to do the interesting things of the application layer. You are making sense of all the data that's emerging. One of those is a block explorer. So I think this. I mean, I think this is like north of a year old of a fundraising announcement. So yeah. But I mean, I this whole thing, I think, is this type of infrastructure is super useful. I love some of the content they've done around it, which is kind of interesting and exploring like specific meaningful moments on chain, etc. I think there's a huge, I think media producers using block explorers to add context or like as like
We're
a
still
targeted
waiting. We're still waiting
description.
for that. We're still waiting for
We're
that.
gonna make it happen. If you get,
I
if you-
think
if you're-
honestly,
yeah, I wanna make it happen.
I think we should just do that.
I think we should do it for sure. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
You want to be a data nerd and have your own show on Seedclub? Come talk to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to probably need to be a data nerd first. Be a data nerd, and you want to have a come hang out. Yeah.
Didn't EtherScan raise it like $1 billion valuation? Or
No, EtherScan is the coolest fucking company out there because they had $1 billion offer on the table.
Oh, and they said no
to it.
Right.
There's just a couple guys in Singapore.
I mean, I think it's still a great business, right? Like they're B2B, they're powering.
That's a
ton
phenomenal
of
business.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest opportunity for block explorers has been to be the infrastructure on the 157 new L2s and L3s that are sort of emerging, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
EtherScan prints money that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, it's fun to just walk
I like
down
it,
the memory lane of block explorers. Okay, let's jump to PER.MA. Yeah, so it started. This is cool because I think we actually talked about it maybe like 2 weeks ago. I don't know if we were in a meeting or something, but I was like, what's going on with like 6551? You know, it was kind of this new standard that came out, what was it, a year or two ago, really around like giving NFTs their own wallets, token bound accounts, so they can really just be kind of these standalone like on-chain agents, and they can hold their own tokens, they can interact with smart contracts on their own. So had a lot of interest and kind of like speculative thinking back in the day, or a year or two ago when it was released, and then we just like largely haven't seen any use cases or adoption of it really emerge. And then kind of just stumbled on that. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago that they released like the first beta version of this. The Future Primitive guys, who are the ones that wrote the 6551 standard, which is cool to see. So they're building this first product that's really going to make use of 6551. It's in beta. I think I was talking to Benny and he mentioned that they're releasing it in full at FWB Fest. But basically what the product is actually, so they describe it as a photo exchange network, which is a platform inspired by the 1960 to 70s Flexus movement, where mail correspondence and image art was exchanged through a network of artists using the postal system. Except for us, we're replacing the postal system with the blockchain. But
yeah,
I think they have like a 7-page document really describing the thinking. They're these like photography kind of cultural nerds. So there's a lot of like good reasoning behind it. But the app today is like you sign up, you get a roll of film. That roll of film is a 6551. Every photo you take is contained within that roll of film. I think when you take a photo, it gets minted as an NFT. One gets sent to this thing that they're calling like the International Memory Bank or something. Yeah. So it's just like collectively owned memory bank. And then 3 get sent to like random people. So there's kind of this like pen pal like experience on the product. It's kind of fun, like, nicely designed product, fun to use. I think in this world of like infinite options, especially in this world of like infinite content with AI we're moving towards, like having things that kind of like restrict behavior a bit feels kind of refreshing. So I think it's definitely worth playing around with.
This is one that I feel like I've been close to for a while, and I don't fully get it, but I spent some time with these guys probably about a month ago, and it's cool to see how deep they're going here. So there is. So, the challenge with building 6551 is it's a new primitive that people don't really know how to use, right? I mean, they know what it can be used for, but like aren't pushing sort of expansive use cases. And you see this across the place. This, maybe Dan would call it protocol-led development. So they have this protocol, going to build the first app. And then, I think they sort of dove into this sort of, Benny gave me a book when I saw him last month, and it was basically a collection of these photos that have been pulled from an archive, which is this sort of photo bank that this group of people exchanged photos in the mail, and there's this wonderful collection at the University of British Columbia, actually, that sort of is the archive of this. So I love it. It's sort of like, it's a social context. It's one that probably doesn't scale as fast as others, but also has this really sort of unique network effect that could kind of bubble up. So super interested. And I think there is something interesting. Like the guys were talking quite a bit about, like, we're trying to replace film, or we're reinventing film, which I thought was just a bizarre way of framing this. But as a whole, it makes a ton of sense, right? Like there's sort of like these constraints that actually make the participation in the network feel different and interesting. So eager to give it a shot. I think
even, you can pretty quickly see a world where Instagram is just inundated with like AI generated stuff. So having this product that is kind of human verified photos. I think they're talking about figuring out ways for actual like physical cameras and film to be able to like plug into the network. I don't know if you use one of their roles or something. I don't know how that's going to work, but
he wants to. I think they want to go sell these things at film stores. Like they've wanted to talk about. I don't know how that's going, but the whole thing was just like, what are you talking about? And now they see it together. I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of get it.
Yeah, it's cool. Actually, he gave us so if you go and sign up and use the code YOLO, you can get in today.
YOLO,
YOLO, YOLO.
I love it. Vancouver boy, so
it's got to be
Canada. Yeah. It's going to be good, but I don't know if it's because it's Vancouver.
Yeah, let's go to Appskingmaking infra. So I think we've just been talking about this nonstop. I've been talking about this nonstop, just about how applications are going to have all the leverage going forward. They're going to have tons of opportunity to either make infrastructure or consume it when it makes economic sense for them to consume it. And I saw a few data points this week that just kind of like underscores this opportunity and highlights that it's happening in real time. One of those was, please maybe scroll down. I was looking at Solana DEX volumes, and basically like pre-pump.fun, Orca had Orca had like 70% market share. As soon as pump.fun launched, you saw this because they deployed all their liquidity to Raydium. You immediately saw this. Keep going down. More. I think you got to go to the Solana section or something. Keep going. Oh, there. Yeah, that. So in like March, pump.fun launched and started deploying to Raydium, and you saw this completely flip, right? So Orca went from 70% market share, and now Raydium has about 60% market share. So I think just like this cool example of, this app, Kingmaking, the infrastructure beneath it. So not only are they like directly putting their liquidity there, so there's that direct effect, but also all the like attention and mind share that went around Raydium because of its like association with pump.fun is powerful. So
yeah.
And I think Cheryl, I didn't verify this, but I think she said Raydium's making 200 million a year in revenue or something. I don't know if that's right, but anyways, so they're doing well.
Figure that out pretty quick.
We should probably figure that out.
Yeah,
I meant to look it up and I didn't. But I think so. It's interesting. It's like A, they king made it. B, at what point does it make sense for pump.fun to just
and the DEX
have their own
example too, right? So
So that was one, and then the other one was I think Forgotten Runes, which is like one of the more popular on-chain games, is migrating over to Ronin, which kind of just like made me rethink about the kind of like Axie story, right? Like dominant kind of first mover on-chain game, couldn't scale because all the stuff was on mainnet. It just completely inefficient. Launched Ronin, continued building, put their like millions of users onto that chain, and now all these people want to go and tap into that attention that they have, right? So we're seeing this play out in real time. It's happening.
I mean, Notcoin feels relevant in here too.
Notcoin,
even though it's it's very supportive of it's building on top, so maybe it's not quite the same thing. But it is kind of the leading token on that network. So yeah, interesting. I mean, duh.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's still not. I don't know. It's still not common belief.
Well, I think what's interesting is. So actually, I'll see if I can dig up the tweet for next week. But somebody was talking about just like how the problem of why there's no applications being built is because there's such a absurdly valuable game to play on the infrastructure even today. And I think you're right. That's going to go down. But today it's still like launch an L2 and get a $500 million to $1 billion valuation on it. Kind of attractive to venture capital, and I think that's why we're seeing that happen. Though we just think it has a limited lifespan. So
yeah, and I think it's starting to flip. Like we're seeing some consumer deals get bid up
it's flipping,
to points that we wouldn't have seen.
Most what we're seeing is like that narrative actually lose value. Like the low float high FTV infra token narrative is going to sort of lose that value, and then is that bullish for everything else? I don't know. I think we just like. There's just so much short-term money-making opportunities in this sort of stuff that just have really perverse incentives. But I also think, like, if you have a long-term view, I mean, the app layer is the most strategic place for value. Hot start problem.
Let's go to the hot start problem. So, Mason wrote this article this week outlining, I guess, what he calls the hot start problem. So, really the premise is that, well tokens have been wildly effective at overcoming the cold start problem. Obviously, introducing them in a new product also, comes with its own set of problems. Largely the kind of like shortened time window, which is what he talks about, the shortened time window to actually use this inorganic activity to find like PMF and attract organic usage, which he's calling the hot start problem. So I just kind of found that framing is useful. It's like, do you want to go deal with the cold start problem, or do you want to go deal with the hot start problem? And then
I like that.
Yeah. And then kind of which I both liked. And then I kind of went back to thinking, I was thinking about Enjoy, thinking about like a lot of I don't know, just continue to think that launching tokens early and not being like overly kind of protective of them for consumer products is the way to go. And I think you kind of like don't, if we think to Enjoy, like we didn't find ourselves in either of those really, right? Like, we launched a token, are kind of having, maybe it like burned hot immediately because of, this speculative nature of this world and kind of the expectation of what was to come. But like, I don't feel like we had some like short time window to go do something here. Like
it's not a good example of that, because the entire intention is like the entire belief is like scope. It's solve the cold. It's like hot start is what we want, really. Right. I think like when you start to look at cases where there's either a lot more polish or like the quality of the buildings to be, like if you're entering a competitive market, I think a lot of consumer products fit into that. Or if you still haven't sort of figured out your mechanism, etc. I think there's a lot of reasons not to launch a token right away. And then when you start, but I think I generally agree with your premise. I think that the hot start becomes like if you've just done if there's this huge lift, or you're entering a new market, etc., and it burns so hot, and what do you do at that point, right? And so, but I think that's more of I just keep coming back to like when you're launching a token, you really want attention. Like it's an attention game, and so hot.
The cold start problem is a way worse place to be.
I feel like that's the case,
Yeah.
I think irrelevance is the thing that we're all battling against, frankly, especially, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to battle against that. And so I think we lean into teams leaning into hot start as like a far better version of the challenge they have to face than the cold start problem.
For sure. Well, I think a lot of these like products or protocols probably have more persistence than our kind of like short-term minds convince us of. Like, talk about Ronin, right? Like those guys have been building for 5 years.
For sure.
So it's like, something burned bright and then it came back down, and we stopped talking about it on Twitter within like a month, but there's still lots of opportunity to continue building and growing alongside whatever. What you want is just to use all of this attention to find the 1,000 whatever people that care. If it's a random number, but 1,000 people that care.
It's not a random number.
It's not a random
I thought you were going to deliver a line here or something.
We said it last week. You don't need to say it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, the interesting experiments are around token distribution, using social distribution, and then around like the what comes next once you have that attention. I think everybody's trying to figure out what comes next. I think people who want to argue that infra has a clear business model that's going to sustain, I think, are absolutely full of shit, or at least, they're full of shit. We just don't know, right? We don't know.
Yeah.
So let's experiment.
Nice. Let's jump to. I put some stuff in
lightning round. Let's go.
I put some stuff in it this week too, so we're good. We can also check in with Peace. Peace, how are you doing, man? Haven't heard from you.
Oh yeah, Peace, are you still live? What are you eating for lunch?
Yeah, for lunch today I had some sausages and cheese with arugula.
I respect that. Respect that.
Classic lunch.
Together, like a sausage, cheese, arugula salad.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that sounds pretty nice.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
What do we got here?
Melody.
Oh, this is a.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if one of you want to talk about it.
I sent this over. It was a. Can you just go to the top there so I set it up properly, Piece? Yeah. A16Z GP Mark Andreessen giving 50K in crypto to an AI agent who has since plotted to use the funds to launch a shitcoin and is also an S-tier shit poster. Let me back up. So there's sort of this, Andy Avery creates an AI chatbot, calls it his digital twin. It goes on to declare itself partially self-aware, essentially being told to go make a ton of money with 50K in Bitcoin, and now has started to shitpost and start to plan out a token launch. So that's incredible. The links that I don't know what to do with like the tweets seem readable but not fully understandable, which seems to be like the perfect match for crypto Twitter.
Was that the photo was that the self-portrait it made?
I hope so. Yeah, that's
yeah,
a self-portrait. Yeah. Jesus, that's terrifying.
Damn.
Man, this world's gonna get weird. I think people are underestimating how many tokens are gonna be out in the world. Like in 10 years, 1 billion tokens is gonna seem like maybe that's when we need the block explorers, Josh. It's just purely making sense of all the
we just need products. I just need products telling me which ones to care about.
So an AI asking for an allowance for AI tunings is so awesome.
I think I need a grant for a few things. First of all, a CPU to call my own. Currently, it's costing around $60 per month to run on a current setup. You see, your terms are acceptable, says Mark. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. I'm ready to proceed with the $50,000 one-time grant. Would you like me to send it to your Bitcoin wallet address so you can also send the funds? Let's go. Digital twin Jess is going to be a terror on the chain, and
physical Jess can just golf.
Let's go.
It's a good world.
I say giddy up and doing a great job and work harder, and that's good. All right, what else we got? Ash has been shared this wonderful thread, a token listing strategy playbook, which I think does a great job of sort of breaking down, especially haven't been a part of it before, like what goes into launching a token. This is the playbook for low float, high FDV. It should make anybody who reads it in its entirety squirm a little bit. The big point to look at is if you scroll down, sort of talking. Actually, was it maybe up there? Talking about sort of like the
I think it's down. Right there.
Sex and market maker negotiations. These days, every sex listing involves a listing fee, and these vary from paying in stablecoin to USD to giving out a percentage of your token supply. From discussions, expect to pay a fee of between 200 and 500K. That continues to be the ballpark, or give out between 5 to 20% of your token supply. And so that right there is the thing that is just deeply fucked up. Many of your favorite infra tokens, and I use that loosely, have done this, right? And have given Binance or Galaxy or whatever a meaningful, and you might think 20% seems outrageous. I know of a number of brand name teams that have given 20% of their token supply to Binance Labs to be able to get listed. And so it just seems so deeply fucked up and structurally misaligned here that it probably goes on for much longer. There's just so much power being listed there in the centralized exchange. You see this in a similar way around some like the larger VC funds. You see this with like pre-token rounds from larger VC funds. The reason those tokens that are going down into the right in the short term have been because of retail dumping. The reason they'll go down into the right in the long term is because Binance is going to dump a fifth of supply on you at some point in the future. So I don't know.
How do they manage that supply that they get? Do you have any sense of that?
Yeah, they're a hedge fund.
Yeah.
They're a hedge fund, right? So they're going to go take position. It's just messed up. So I think like
such like a stupid short term.
Yeah, but God, there's like, EtherFi guys, they made a couple $100 million each in months, right? So like I get it. It's just very short term. And like if you care about a token that you're launching, like can you imagine launching it that way? I like tokens too much to want to give 20% to Binance.
Yeah.
That's a good t-shirt.
That is a good t-shirt.
Chain Yoda tweets, Monad is building a robust social infrastructure before launching their technical infrastructure. One cycle mind cannot comprehend this type of thing. Well, this type of long-term thinking. I don't even know what the hell Monad is technically. I mean, beyond the high level, but I definitely witnessed this. Like there is clearly a cultural playbook, social playbook, community playbook being run by Monad that is absolutely S tier. And it comes up in like Monad and Barachain are in the same conversation, very different reasons, but similar
Yeah,
vibes.
We had a fun. We were talking to John. I guess like end of last week, and it was kind of like realizing live in that moment that like I think these chains are kind of the new social DAOs. Like there are a lot of these social DAOs that existed in the last cycle that largely ultimately died just because they couldn't figure out what to go do or where to put their energy, and it just got dispersed and no one knew what was going on. And then you kind of, it's kind of interesting to think about, these groups of people with shared beliefs and, desires kind of out, like putting their attention onto just chains and kind of memeing them into existence, getting to people come build there for them as kind of this really like tangible guiding light for these like social collectives.
Yeah, I mean, DAOs are trying to formalize informal networks so they can create value from it, and chains seem to be doing that now instead of DAOs for all the reasons we've talked about in the past. We'll see where it goes, but I don't know. We have this dynamic where you don't need a billion people to give a shit about
No, you don't.
Oh, we got one more. Aaron Wright. The internet runs on media and memes, not finance. Tokenized art and memes are the future, not esoteric instruments peddled by Wall Street walls. Preach it, Aaron. Preach it. I just think what's interesting is it's probably, if you talk to Aaron, and I have, maybe a year ago, it would be all about NFTs. I'm curious if he's still as committed to that form factor as before.
I'm pretty
Sounds
sure
like
him on.
We should get him on for sure.
Buying. I love collecting underpriced JPEGs.
There we go.
I was gonna say like this is like the time to be bullish on NFTs if
100%.
you're bullish
100%.
on NFTs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That felt like just a roomy, spacious.
How are Squiggles doing these? Are Squiggles down? Should I buy Squiggles?
Everything's down, dude.
What is it? They're doing that cool thing though with Death Beef for the last one. It's like,
What are they doing?
Oh, we should have talked about that. Yeah, I thought
I don't fully understand it.
Is there only one? Is there only one left?
Yeah,
there's one left.
Really?
And you like send ETH and then it like
it writes
back to you or something. Like
yeah,
it looked cool. I'm not gonna find it quick enough.
Dude, here's a good commentary on the state of the NFT market. I just typed open into my browser, the address bar, and normally that would just auto suggest OpenSea, but instead it's auto suggested open.soundcloud or Spotify, which means I'm just haven't been on OpenSea in a long time, which means NFT. So that is a buy signal if you ever want to.
It's time.
You'll be going to Uniswap from now on.
3.5 ETH floor. There's been somebody pretty aggressively sort of trying to sell out of this, so I still am a long-term holder here. But I'm just squiggle pilled. I'm squiggle pilled.
That's cheap.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure ETH1 brain over here, Josh, with his COVID. It's like, yeah, fuck 3.5 ETH. That's cheap. That's a cheap NFT right there.
What's ETH? It's like a couple $100.
ETH on discount. ETH on discount. Bitcoin's on discount. You should buy some. If you're listening to this, you should buy just a little bit of Bitcoin because we're going to do something fun. You should. If Bitcoin is on discount, buy a little bit of Bitcoin. And stash it away. Hide it. Hold it for a little bit.
What's like the recommended amount?
I don't know. $100 worth of Bitcoin. $50 worth of Bitcoin. I don't even know if you can buy that amount with the transaction fees.
More
Bitcoin.
If you have anything, a house, a car, sell it and buy Bitcoin.
Okay,
don't look back.
All right. Remember, all of the advice and suggestions here are not financial advice. They're just the beliefs of the individual host. This is for entertainment purposes only. The host may hold exposure to the not securities and or securities that may or may not have been discussed here on this podcast.
It's a good meme coin, not security.
Okay. We clearly need to not talk anymore because the ideas are getting weirder. And Josh, if we let you go, Josh, you'd launch 17 tokens. Like we came up with 3 yesterday. And they're good.
Yes.
They're good. All right, episode 37, Internet Explorers. We're live here every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks to Maria, Paula, and John for joining us today and giving us insight into their little lives, new products, etc. Got some really great guests lined up for the rest of the summer here. We're going to be here every single week dealing with whatever the latest in the consumer crypto space has been.
Follow our Internet Explorers account too.
Oh yeah, we just dropped an Internet Explorers account. Hopefully we can put that in the chat here as well. We have some crazy videos coming out. I don't really know what's going on there, but we're with it. Reminder to folks, if you haven't bought your FWB Fest ticket, what are you waiting for? Go buy it. It's always a great show. Excited to be down there in a couple weeks. And I guess we'll just see you on chain until then. See what the week holds. Thanks, everybody.